Thank you. Courtney, do roll call.
Alright, Carol Bullish.
Here.
Lindsay Bowman.
Here.
Keith Vandervelde.
Yes.
And Jane Lloyd.
Yep.
And I'm here too.
Alrighty, perfect. For public comment, does anybody have anything as far as public comment tonight? Yeah.
Cheryl Cuffey. I was just wondering, on the old business, there used to be a raise order that was for Peter and Catherine Kurt on the south shore over there, lending. What did kind of fell off, and I haven't heard anything else on that now. It hasn't been on there as old business.
Okay. We can definitely look into that.
Yeah, you said Peter and Catherine Kirk?
Yes, K-U-R-T, sorry.
K-U-R, I'm sorry.
K-U-R-T.
T, Kirk, okay. I'll see if I can find it on some old minutes and agendas.
Okay, sure.
Then I
I
have
think
it.
that, I think it ended up going to the, back to the county, because we didn't do the orders, I think the county's the one who takes control of that.
Oh, okay.
So I would check with zoning to find out.
Okay, I can reach out to zoning on that too.
Am I allowed to make any comments on the agenda that's coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. It says about the creating a resolution to allow election day worker to be split into shifts. It's like, just a comment, it's like, why do they need a resolution if you can't work a full shift? Just don't work a full shift.
State
And
statute.
what if somebody calls in and was sick and now you got somebody going, uh-oh, now what? I think it would be, have enough people to just, split the shift anyway.
So in order to allow split shifts at, I'm sorry, do you mind if I?
No,
do
yeah,
that?
go ahead.
In order to allow split shifts at an election, towns are required by state statute to have an ordinance to allow you to split the day into shifts. So that's what this ordinance would do. So in November, when I had people working, because the town does not have that ordinance, everyone had to get here at 6:30 in the morning and they were here until the end of the day, which gets to be a very long day. So what this ordinance would allow me to do, or the future clerk to do, is to split the day up into shorter shifts for people.
Okay, even though in the past it's been split shift all along.
It has, but you're supposed to legally have an ordinance to allow it. I even double checked with the elections commission to make sure that I wasn't just making that up in my head, and said, I just want to confirm we're supposed to have an ordinance, correct? And he said yes.
Okay.
You might check.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine. And then the discussion of possibly action on moving the future town board and town meetings to the fire station. It's like, why? It's a bigger space to heat. The acoustics would be terrible in there. So a lot of times people can't even hear what's going on in here, and with that open space like that. You're gonna heat that the whole time? Just thoughts.
Sure, thank you.
Place has got to be heated all the time. And this building, we put a heat taste test on this. Back in the day, there's so much heat loss, it's unreal. This building.
Okay.
And
Well, there's
I-
restrooms and some there.
And there's restrooms.
We can discuss the
Yeah.
pros and cons of
What's
it.
more efficient as far as this building. And the other question is I have is, whatever happened to the, fire department's charge against them, it's DOJ in Madison. Never heard anything more back. We want to settle by the end of this end of this year. Just sick of being put off, and not pay attention to.
What, and I apologize,
It's
new here,
a charge
what's,
by the town board against the fire department and myself.
okay,
One went to Marquette County and the other went currently to the DOJ.
okay,
Department.
okay, so Marquette County.
Back in April, I believe, or maybe before that. Most of the things like John and Sharon.
All right, any other comments? Yeah.
Charlene Bennett. I was just wondering if you checked, you brought up last time about that culvert being paid for. Did you check on that?
The culvert over by,
On Edgewood Court?
yeah, yep. Do you want me to check on that, or?
No, you brought it up last time and reminded us you didn't know if it was paid for yet. I wondered if
Oh,
you would check.
if we got a check for that one from the state
Yes,
farm?
we gotta check with the state farm.
Oh, okay, we did get a check for that one. on to reviewing and approving the September 18th and October 21st meeting minutes.
September 19th, I didn't get it. I didn't get minutes for it. Here's confusion on it. September 18th meeting was canceled.
No, yes, I'm sorry. It should be October 21st and it's supposed to be the November, which we can do November next month if you want, the November.
Okay, so it should only be October 21st.
It's, yep, just October 21st.
No, because that meeting on September 19th, that
I
did
just did
occur.
backspace far enough when I was writing the agenda.
But we never did approve those minutes. I don't know if we had a meeting on the 19th. Because it had to do with the recall.
Do we not have to know what write minutes for those ones?
I don't know. I have not seen any minutes, but I know when you go onto the agenda on the website and you click on agenda, there is a meeting for the 19th with the recall, but there were no minutes attached to it.
Okay.
So I don't know if anything was written or not.
No, it doesn't, so, yeah.
Was it the one that you were gonna go through, maybe watch a video on?
Yeah,
or
that's
you
the
read it?
one, Charlie, did you get a chance to post that video?
Which one?
It was September 18th. It was
19th.
the
No,
19th.
September 18th was canceled.
Oh, it was posted the 19th.
No, September 18th was canceled, and then they did a new special board meeting for the 19th on a different topic.
Okay. I think we had emailed back and forth a little bit when you were posting those.
Do you need that
videos
one
for
up
me.
too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have that one, I'll
Sure.
write up some minutes. Yeah, that was before I was here, so,
September 19th.
yeah.
Okay.
I can shoot you an email too if you
Okay,
want.
so then I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 21st regular board meeting minutes that were given to us with one correction. On the second page, it says motion by Carol, seconded by Lindsay regarding the high shouldering work on Third Avenue. We should add the comment that it was up to an estimate of $2,500.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so there's some wages that we were. So I do not have a fire department report because their meeting is tomorrow night. So I won't have anything to report on that until next month. If somebody does want it sooner than next month, it will be posted on the village website, maybe the end of this week. They're normally pretty quick about getting things up there. Clerk's report.
Okay, so a couple things, just, a report on how the election went really great for the town of Westfield. I had wonderful people here working. We did have 522 voters, 126 of them were absentee voters, and 47 people registered to vote in the town of Westfield on election day. So, yeah, that's how the election went. I'm pretty happy with how it went, so. The other thing, that wasn't on the agenda, but they asked if I would just give an update on the LRIP grant money that we're expecting. So I did talk to Brian at the county. He said that all the paperwork has been submitted to the state. They are just waiting for the state to send the money. So I don't know what they're dragging their feet on. In fact, I will send Brian another email and see.
I would appreciate is what I found in going, when we're trying to find the missing emails. I went back and I did find an email, and you probably have this, Courtney. It's from Sharon to Brenda, dated September 9th. And that's when Sharon said to only pay the partial invoice so that we could submit that then for reimbursement. And said that hope to have these funds approximately $145,500 within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and it's been way past that.
And it's
So, yeah, I'm typing
way
in an
past
email
it.
right now, so we'll
All right.
get an answer on that. Otherwise, that's all I have for my report.
And I will say thank you for getting caught up on the payroll taxes for the IRS.
Yeah.
Okay, treasurer's report?
Do you want me to just read this off? I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, just read it off.
Well, we have a budget report here if anybody wants to see it. Our budget for 2024 was $559,352.02. Our actual right now is $325.66.
Through what date?
That's our income. What?
Through what date?
Through the end of October. Well, actually, let me see what mine. No, because I have to put it on. Yeah, 10/31. So all the deposits were all in there. I haven't had any since. I think Courtney said there was a deposit.
Yeah, there was a deposit today, state share of revenue, the rest of it came in, it was $45,000, that was just deposited today.
Which I haven't got on this report yet.
Yeah, because it'll be on
Right.
this month's bank statement.
And then our total expense, oh yeah, yeah. That was actual.
Is that like a fourth?
Do you want to know?
No,
which one?
no, if you want,
Oh.
do you have the checking balance?
I do have. the
Yeah,
checking.
I know, yeah, just wanted to.
So our contingency fund, we have 15,397 in there. And then in our checkbook, we have a negative 131,922.61, but we did not send out the 199,823 check for, Marquette County Highway Department head.
Cause we're waiting on those LRIPs to be received.
Okay,
So we have a negative balance.
alrighty, perfect. If that's all you got, then we'll move on to reviewing and authorizing the monthly vouchers. You just want everybody got a copy of that too?
Yep.
Okay, and everybody should have gotten a copy of that if you picked one up over there.
Make a motion that we approve the $29,447.98 in checks for November.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
This is also, this is assuming that we can still hold the $199,000 check.
Right.
Because we don't have enough, we have money to pay this, but not that one.
Right, yep, and just these checks to be sent out, I still have that other one, we haven't even signed it yet, so there's, assuming the bank's doing its job, no chance that it should be cashed.
Okay, and then we'll move on to old business. Discussion and possible action on Lawrence Lake Public Access on Delta Drive. And this was just moving those cement barricades, which, I think what we discussed at the last meeting was possibly just moving them enough to where they can't drive the whole circle back there, since it does go onto the neighbor's property. But we have not moved those barricades. It was moving the barricades to allow for on-site parking and foot access to Lawrence Lake was gonna be $250 from the highway department.
No, that was to remove the barriers, or that was to reposition them?
Reposition, yeah, moving the barricades.
So what we're, see if I understand this right. We're gonna move the barriers so that they separate your property from our property, is that right?
Yeah, mhm.
And
So,
Right,
so
but we,
somebody went in there and they like cleared a circle, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they cleared a circle in there, and the circle does go onto Larry's property. So what we were gonna do was put the barricades up in the circle to where people can still go in there and park, but they can't go through onto the neighbor's property.
Okay,
So it would basically be like, almost like a parking curb, but if you hit it, you do damage to the front of your car because of how big they are.
so the barriers, so the complaint was the ice fishermen couldn't get their ice stuff. going.
Yeah, 'cause it was
So that's
only
not gonna
like-
change, and that's gonna change, because those the barriers are gonna.
They're gonna be
gone.
moved, yeah, yeah, cause there was only like 2.5, maybe 3 feet to go through there, and some sleighs or sleds for ice fishing are bigger than that. So it was basically, just opening that up wide enough or moving the barricades, which if we move the barricades, then people can park in there, and we could probably fit 2, if not 3 vehicles in there. Would you say, like, for ice fishing, if people wanted to park off the road versus on that dangerous corner, if it gets icy and snow covered and whatnot?
yeah, we don't need the barricades on our property.
Okay,
if it becomes a problem or something, we put some logs or something there.
Okay.
Those bare, those chunks of concrete are pretty ugly.
Okay, especially for a new
I would think
a
so,
new
but
property,
yeah.
right?
I mean, if we want to put some big rocks or something there, that would be fine. And actually, we may put some of our own, but,
Okay.
I don't want those chunks of rock or chunks of concrete there.
So possibly just,
Removing
Take
them
them away.
completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem with that, and if we have to put big trees that, like even just like a log or something down, like an 8-foot log or something to keep them from driving over them, so we just have the highway department remove them completely,
I would say yes.
just so people can get in there.
Yeah, they were put there so people couldn't get in there, right?
Right.
And why was that?
I just think people were driving on the neighboring property, and we were just trying to prevent people from driving through there, I think was kind of what we were doing. And maybe preventing people from driving in there regardless, which I don't know why we wouldn't allow people to drive in there. Being on a sharp corner like that, I don't know why you would want somebody to park out on the road when you have room for parking inside on the property.
I think the motion that we remove.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion?
There was some talk about what is the township liability for all that?
Yeah, we'll jump into that next, with the private equipment,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Because that may impact, I would think that could impact what gets parked there.
Sure.
But that's a different issue.
yeah,
The
that's,
concrete barrier, that's
that's the next item.
Sure.
Yeah.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Okay, on to the new business. So this is the pier and the docks that were put in, the discussion and possible action on private equipment placed on Lawrence Lake.
Is this the same place?
Yeah.
Just so I have that
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
the same place, just a
Different topic.
Yeah. So I think I gave you guys each a copy of this too. But there was a couple different options that the attorney gave us as far as what we should do with the property, or with the private property on the town property. And so like the background was that the town owns this property on Lawrence Lake, and some neighboring property owner, which we don't know who totally has done that yet, has constructed certain improvements on the town-owned property. The town has asked what options may be available regarding this. So one of them was a private use agreement. And I think, did you make me a better copy of this one, Courtney? Mine is.
Yeah, I thought I said it there before you didn't have mine.
That's what this town of Larson.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just a sample document, of like what could happen. And one thing that I did ask is if we did this private use agreement, would it only be whoever's in this agreement? Because that would make the ice fishermen mad too if they can't access this area as well. So they said that we could write it to where it's still open to the public, but we're not liable if something happens, basically.
And who said that? The attorney?
The attorney.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another option would be to remove the improvements. Because this is town property, the town could require the neighboring property owners to remove all the improvements from the town property at the neighboring property owner's cost. It says these improvements are built on the town's property and the town has ultimate authority over town property. The town could give notice to this individual that it must be removed from the town's property by a certain date, or the town will cause removal of the improvements and bill the property owner for the cost of the work. Or our last option is a donation agreement, where simply if the property owner does not want to enter into a private use agreement and or does not want to pay for the removal, would be to execute a donation agreement, basically donating the improvements to the town property.
Do we know who owns the dock?
We don't. We have not nailed that down yet. So that was gonna be another issue is I don't know if we can write letters to maybe people in the area and be like,
Well, if we tear it down, we'll find out.
if we tear it down.
But I'm not sure we wanna necessarily just go outright and tear it down, because if there are enough people that are in that community that are
It's a joke.
using the ice fishing, we don't want them pissed off at us.
Right, or even the people who are
Or
using it in the summertime.
summertime,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Do we know how safe it is? I haven't been down there myself to see how
I
well constructed it is, if it's dangerous.
I did take some photos. I don't know if it's totally up to code or anything like that, or who we'd have to have come out and inspect it. I did walk out on the pier. Well, I walked out on the one dock and the one pier, and it seemed pretty stable and safe. There was one that was like, I think it was a kayak boat launch. Was your understanding of that too, Larry? It was where you can like launch a kayak and then.
Well, there was one pier. I mean, there's the parallel dock that goes along
Sure.
the shore, and then there was a single pier that.
Yeah, and then there was like one though that it was almost like a U shape, and I think you can put your kayak in the middle of it and then
Right.
kind of go into it that way, which I mean it's kind of cool because then you don't flip your kayak, but
That's
I don't think that's all
accessible
there.
though, I think, isn't that pulled up on the shore?
oh, is that pulled up maybe now? Because when I went there, it was in. I mean, I have photos of it too. If anybody did want to see the photos, when I was there, I did take photos of it, but
Yeah, I don't think that's used very much. In fact,
Okay.
I've never seen it used at all.
okay.
And it's pretty old and rotty.
And that was the only
That-
one that really concerned me was that one.
Yeah.
You know, and I obviously didn't walk out on that one because when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I don't want to go for a swim today.
The dock is a wooden deck, and it's been left out there for years, and it was originally treated wood, but if you look at the boards, there's obviously some that need to be replaced, or could be replaced.
Sure.
The metal pier is an aluminum pier, and that looks like it's in pretty good shape, but the dock itself, I think, it's wood, it's gonna deteriorate, and it's been deteriorating to some degree. It's not dangerous at this point, but it's something that's gonna need attention.
Sure.
And do we know if this property is identified on our insurance?
That I'm not sure on. If
Because I know we have liability insurance, but I don't know what we have to have with the insurance company to cover like all of our boat landings, and this would be another one, if they're covered or not. Or do you have to have something special?
Yeah, there's a set of stairs that go down to the dock.
It looks pretty steep.
It's pretty steep, and especially if we're gonna use that in the wintertime for dragging sleds up and down, that's fine, but, if those steps get filled in with snow, it could be slippery.
and who's going to be taking care of them in the winter? Is somebody going to be shoveling them in the winter, or?
The ice fishermen will just walk on top.
So I'm not, should we try and nail down whose property it is and see?
Rumor has it was a group of neighbors that got together years ago and all chipped in some money and built it.
That's what I heard is
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
independent of, so that nobody's gonna claim ownership now.
Yeah.
Right.
So where does that leave maintenance?
Maintenance and liability.
I think let's check on the liability and see what that does, and then we can talk about maintenance,
Okay. So find out with our insurance company.
because it may be that we just have it removed because we can't maintain it.
Right.
Or it's too
We don't
expensive.
have like a groundskeeper to.
But I think we have to have a little more information.
Okay.
And I think it would be kind of nice to know in the neighborhood, who's using it? And how do they feel about continuing to use it? And what would they be willing to do in terms of maintenance?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So are we just gonna table that one then for? Alrighty.
Do I have to make a motion to table this?
No. Okay. Okay, so then we'll move on to letter B, action to approve the 2025 Town of Westfield budget.
And that is in your package, just the 2025 one for you guys.
I have my notes on the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the the proposed 25 budget with the following adjustments. Computer aid, $6. I think that was just a one-time shot. That one-
No, we get that every year.
You get that every
It'll,
year?
yeah, it's like $6
Yeah,
and
that's just-
28 cents or something.
Okay. So we'll keep that in, and then the lottery credit of $6,568 should be.
We can't change the budget anymore.
We have to.
No,
You can't, you approve the proposed budget, you'd have to hold a whole new hearing about it if you're gonna change the budget. If you wanna make amendments next year, cause you need to move money around, you can, but I don't think you can make amendments on your
it's
budget
set,
at this
Carol.
point. Yeah,
Well, we're not gonna get that revenue, so I think people need to understand that we're not gonna get the lottery credit, because it's not coming in on that line, it's been budgeted twice. And I think that's a mistake.
and it was a mistake to do it, but I don't think we're legally allowed to do it without another hearing.
it's not correctable.
You'd
I
have to
think
start
it's
the
our
budget
budget.
process.
It's our budget, and the people
No,
set
but
the
it was,
levy.
no, it was passed at our town meeting.
The budget was
The
not.
levy was
Yeah,
passed.
passed.
Only the levy was passed.
But to get your budget approved, you'd have to start over with your budget meeting again, then have your
Just
budget
put-
hearing on it
Put
again.
a note in the minutes that the levy is, the lottery credit will not be received, so that people know.
Okay. I will put that right in your motion.
I'll second the approval of the Town of Westfield budget. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next we have the discussion and possible action on formally accepting the resignation of Brenda Peterson and removing her as a signer on all bank accounts.
I make a motion to accept the resignation.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on updating the signers on the National Exchange bank accounts.
I make a motion that the signers be updated to have the Jane White as treasurer, Courtney Trimble as clerk, and Lindsay Bauman as chair.
Second.
3 signers.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on obtaining a bond for the clerk and treasurer.
So I was going to look into that. I haven't found the voucher to show me who your insurance company is yet. I found some vouchers, but they were from 2023. And I have a stack of papers that's almost 3 feet high.
Let me help, let me look
Okay.
at that, because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Schwartz Insurance.
Okay, if you have information and wanna reach out to them and see, because the town might have a blanket bond that
I
covers
think they
us.
do.
Okay,
I think they do.
so then that's not an issue, the only thing is that she, I believe, still needs, and maybe you know this better than me, get a bond to collect taxes. Cause I know,
I thought the bond covered
okay,
both, you both have to have it because of the handling of cash, and I think
Right.
that bond that we have with the insurance company covers both of you.
okay, I didn't know if there was something special for tax collection, because I know that
Okay,
Jody
I'm not-
needs
I'm
a
not-
copy of something at the county,
I'm not
but
sure.
I don't do treasurer stuff, so I don't know.
It's a matter of contacting the insurance company.
Yeah.
Do you just
they'll
wanna
know.
leave that for the next meeting then?
Yeah, I will put it
Okay.
on there and I'll put the
Okay.
Carol's gonna look into it.
Perfect, okay. Discussion and possible action on allowing Zoom/video meetings and participation. There was somebody who wants us to do Zoom meetings so they can join from home. However, there's a lot that goes into that. And Pat Walkie's kind of going through it right now, so I don't know if, Courtney, do you have anything you wanna chime in on this one? Cause
Yeah, I'm happy, yeah, so I live in the town of Packwaukee and I go to their meetings, so I just know that they're kind of facing the same questions right now. I do know that they are working with the, IT person from the county who's gonna come in and give them kind of an estimate of what he believes it would cost to get them set up on it. Things that you wanna consider, that the board wants to consider before taking action on this are things such as retention. If you're videoing your records, the town is now responsible for keeping those records. Video records, I don't even know if it's longer than 7 years that you have to keep them, but you have to have a way to store those, digital files. You have to make decisions about, okay, can board members appear electronically? Can you still vote? Do you still get paid for attending the meeting if you're not here in person? Do you allow public participation? Is it, what are you gonna have permanent equipment? Is it just gonna be a camera that's set up? Is it a laptop that you're just setting up? Are you gonna have video screens so if someone is participating, you can have them up there? There's a lot more to consider. I know when the county did their video setup, I wanna say, and granted, this would not be something the town would do, but for the county, it was over $100,000, I think, when they set up all their fancy video equipment. And then you also wanna be cognizant of if you use this building for other uses, that you now have thousands of dollars worth of equipment in it too. And I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other, I just wanna make sure that the board considers all sides before making decisions on this. And if you are interested in speaking with the IT guy at the county, I know him very well. He's happy to help towns out when they have tech questions. So I'd be happy to reach out to him and see if he's interested in coming and looking at the building. You'd also have to take into account during the winter, this would have to be kept at a suitable temperature because you would have video equipment and computer equipment and whatnot that stays in this building.
If we set it up, we'd probably put it in the fire station, because it's heated all the time.
Sure.
I think we have too many questions that need to be answered before we can even think about doing a discussion. And I know that you talked about having a remote attendance policy, a sample that came from somebody. Can we get a copy of what that?
I think the attorney was gonna send
Well,
us
he was.
did he?
He said, I will note just following, a remote attendance policy, please find section 19 point
Okay.
of the Village of Fox Point Village Code, blah, 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 talks about this. So if we see a policy, we might give us
Okay.
information that we can decide, do we wanna do that for us or not? Because I also know that the cost, if it's significant, we're not gonna be able to do it because we're broke, we can't pay our bills.
I do feel that at this time it's probably out of the budget and a little over our heads as far as storing videos and stuff like that.
I agree.
Okay.
But I think we should at least check on what the tentative cost might be. Let's look at that policy before.
Okay, sure.
Because I think that the question on participation is a big one because it's Zoom assumes interaction between all the parties. Town board meetings are not interactive by nature, so they don't work together.
Sure.
So I think we have to figure out how do we balance that, because the public needs to know what's going on.
Do you wanna maybe ask him how much it would cost, the IT guy?
Yeah, I
Or like
can.
kinda get like a rough idea and maybe we'll just bring it up at the next meeting and see how long we have to store videos for and how much that's gonna cost to store them, cause I'm sure you have to buy storage somewhere to store them. Okay. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Do we have to record them, or could we just have a Zoom meeting? Like, what if one of you guys wanted to take a vacation? You just,
We're public officials, we're not allowed to.
but it's just a way to not miss a meeting for you guys maybe too, but we're a small town, we don't want anything elaborate and, so we gotta get into the 21st century too, so I think it's something we should definitely start thinking about.
And that's a good question. My gut tells me that if you have them via Zoom, that you have to record them and keep them, but I will find out a for sure answer on that.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Carol, you're good?
No,
Keith,
I'm
you're good? Okay.
I'm good for the moment.
Okay. Then we'll move on to discussion and possible action on creating a resolution to allow election day workers to be split into 2 shifts, which we kind of touched on it, but we'll let Courtney.
Yep, so I put a draft of the ordinance in here for you. So it basically just says the town board of the town of Westfield, Marquette County has the specific authority under state statute 7.30 sub 1 to adopt this ordinance. This ordinance adopted by a majority of the town board on a roll call vote with a quorum present and voting and proper notice having been given provides for the selection of 2 or more sets of officials to work at different times on each election day as follows. There shall be 2 or more shifts for election workers on all election days. The first shift shall commence at 6:30 a.m. The final shift shall end with the completion of all required election day duties that follow the closure of the polls. This ordinance is effective on publication or posting. So again, this is just allowing myself as a clerk, or whoever your next clerk is, to have shifts for election day. I was very fortunate that I had workers that were willing to work the entire day. They were here until, I want to say 10:30 or so. Lacey was my chief inspector, was at 10:30.
10:30, yeah, but then,
Yeah.
but I could be like, eat everything or whatever.
Yeah, so everyone was here between 6 and 6:30, and then the earliest anyone got to leave was 10:30 at night, so it was a very long day. And as it was pointed out, it's silly that the town has to have an ordinance for this, but that's what state statutes say. I agree, it's ridiculous. Let towns, the election workers how they want.
I have one question related to this, because I went back and checked 7:30 to see what it was. And 7:30 says that we have to have 5 election officials. 7:32 says that we can change the official numbers by doing a, made by resolution, reduce the number of election officials, modify or rescind any summary previous action.
Yeah, so
So
that's
we need
funny,
to
I
have
was actually going to
something-
bring that up for the next meeting, because after I read that, I was like, ooh, I bet they don't have an ordinance allowing them to have less workers either.
No, we don't.
So the number set by state statute for election workers is actually 7. And then by ordinance, you can reduce it to 5 or 3. But you have to have an ordinance
Well,
again allowing.
7:30 is the one that says, shall be 7, but can't go down to 5.
It can go down to 5, yes.
7:32
Yes,
says it can go down to even more.
to less, yes.
So we should combine them.
So you want to wait and combine it all
I want
into
to
one
combine it all
ordinance?
into
Okay.
one ordinance, so we don't have to do
Okay.
another ordinance.
Yeah.
And it's all in one place.
Yeah. Okay. Making some notes on that. Yeah.
Okay. Discussion and possible action on fire services being provided by the Village of Westfield Fire Department.
I did have a chance, I did talk to Jason.
Okay.
What my concern was why I put this on here, so we have an agreement between the village and the town to provide fire department services. What we weren't getting is a report that said what they're doing for us. So I talked to Jason about how can we get a report that talks about the services being provided to us. And he was, somewhat cooperative. What we did agree, he does the monthly report for the village, which says this is how many calls they've had, what kind of services are provided. So for example, when they go out and do inspections at the different public buildings, their reports are done. And I think you, Courtney, you can please check the records to see if the fire inspection reports are a part of your records that you received. So every business or public place has to have an inspection every, once a year. And Paul Parker is one who does those reports, and he does some copies of it. Paul's in Florida, so I couldn't get copies of it, but he was pretty sure that you
Yeah,
had.
Jason said he thought Paul did them back in April.
Yes, he
So,
did.
oh, okay.
Right. So we also got, because there's like 2% dues that comes in for fire prevention services, in one of the minutes, and he's pretty good about writing a report, and Linda does put it into the minutes, talked about going out and doing fire prevention services because during fire prevention month, like he'll go to the schools and they'll do tours. He went out and did some fire inspection services with the fire department out to, what's the camp, Wanda? Wakanda. So they did just some stuff out there. So we'll find out about those things if they're in the minutes. What he's going to modify the minutes for is he's going to now give us the town's share of it. So, example, he said there were 11 calls, and I said, okay, that's fine. You have 11 calls. How many of them were into the town of Westfield? And he said he'll start adding that information now moving forward. He did say, off the top of his head, he didn't think that he had any calls to the town of Westfield for fires in the last 2.5 months. So, okay, that's fine. And that's nice for us to know what's happening. He also was very adamant. He says he wants to, for the record, to know that they're not going to be doing any information on EMS calls. He won't even give us the number of EMS calls that came in because he's claiming HIPAA restrictions.
Like the EMS assist calls?
Yes, he wouldn't even give me a number on EMS assist.
Because?
He says it's HIPAA. He said he's going to the extreme of, I'm not gonna give you any data on EMS because of HIPAA, as opposed to getting hauled into court because he gave information. He did say that there was an open record request that had gone out, and he was very perturbed with that request that had gone out because it included EMS information that should not have been on the record request. But he said, for the record, we're not gonna get it. So I don't know if EMS has a different approach.
Yeah, I don't.
To me, the number of calls shouldn't matter. I'm not asking for location, I'm not asking for names, but the fact that you get 1, 2, or 10, I think that makes a difference because it's a workload issue for you.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's done different. I know the Joint Fire District out of Montello gives each municipality a list of what the calls, who the call was for, what the property address was, if it was EMS assist, if it was fire, if it was a.
Like I said, he was not very cooperative.
Yeah.
But the best we were able to do is to say, he'll continue with the report, but he'll modify when he gives the village and add town-specific information.
So anything else on the fire protection services? Keith, you got anything? No? Carol, you got any more? You good?
No.
Okay, okay. Next we have the discussion and possible action on potholes, near W7641 Evergreen Avenue. I did take a drive over there. They were pretty bad, but obviously with Slowey's hauling manure, I don't know that we're gonna get away from how bad they are. But so I did email Brian, and I just asked him, if he could get me a quote on how much it would be to possibly fill the potholes. And he came back with that he typically, went through the entire town in the fall and took care of all the potholes before winter. When we went through in the spring, it was a little over 5,000. We paved over a lot of the severely pothole areas, so I'd anticipate closer to 4,000 this fall. We can get hot asphalt yet this week. After that, we're down to just the cold mix over the winter. So,
And does he say, is that for all potholes, or is that, he's just talking about these ones?
No, back in March or April, I'm not sure when it was, we did approve a flat down on experience potholes because they're going to occur. I can't tell if it's gonna happen today or if it's gonna happen next year. We don't know when, so I think we've had him on notice that there was money available to cover potholes.
okay.
And I think that should still continue through the year because maybe you can't do hot mix, but you have potholes that are 2, 3, 5 inches, you have to get them fixed, whether it's January or summer.
Right.
So I don't know what their policy is on how to go about getting those fixed. Like if you just call them and just put them on notice that when you're out here again.
Right, and that's what I was maybe looking for, is just, maybe an approval, or, that we could have him, maybe when he's out in the area, just have him fill those ones. I had a citizen complain, obviously, about them, but, I don't know how much it costs or how it goes.
Part of it is, my experience has been that when there's a pothole, they go and fix them. So all of a sudden you'll see potholes fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it has to do when they go out and do if they know about it, then they will go out and go next to me all the time. Because if they're working over in Briggsville, they're not gonna come over here and fix our little pothole.
Right.
But if they're doing a route here, and we just let it up to their discretion as to when they actually filled it. Just like was their discretion on when to fix the ditch. When it's their schedule, we don't tell them what their schedule is. We just tell them, this is what needs to be done.
Okay.
So I think that it's appropriate for you to notify Brian when we have pothole issues, or they're identified.
Yeah, I think just get them there.
Get them fixed, okay.
Yeah,
That's not free.
no,
You know
it's,
that.
It's gonna cost you something.
well, we do know it, but I also don't want my car going through that
Right.
pothole
I
for,
get that.
and lose my transmission.
Said a couple minutes ago, we have no money, so.
But, okay, we don't have any money, we have a very tight budget, we're not taking on new things, potholes is not a new thing.
Is it deep enough or is it
Well,
gonna just
that's-
pop back out again?
Well, that's where, I'm not the professional on that, that's where Brian has to be the one that says that this is how it should be fixed. And I do know that we have money coming in, we have money in our budget for transportation, which covers mowing, covers potholes, covers repairs, covers the things that we need to have to maintain our roads. We just have to learn to live within that amount of money, because we get transportation aids. We get shared revenue that comes in, we have to use it on roads.
I was gonna ask him for his opinion on it too, if he's ever driving in the area, hey, can you let me know, is this one that is severe enough that you think we need to fix it now? Can it wait till the spring and get fixed, you know, after you do your route in the spring? And just kind of like, you know, cause like Carol said, we're no road professionals and we just leave it up to the people who are, so. I'll just maybe let him know to check it out if he's ever in this area, not to make a special trip over here, but if,
No, but you need to tell him, or figure out with him, like, you have to tell him when we get a complaint, because
sure, yeah.
if you went to Evergreen and you can see it's 5-inch hole, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you could, because I know there's some here on Fourth Avenue that are like just a little bitty things, but
Sure,
you don't wanna make a special trip for it.
yeah.
But
yeah.
I also know that when winter time comes and you get the freezing and thawing and all that kind of stuff, it makes a difference.
Sure, sure. Okay, well, I can let him know to come and take a look at those ones and see if he feels that we
Where are
can.
they located? Between Second and?
No, they're over on Evergreen Avenue. Like where you can go on A around Slowies, otherwise if you go straight, you'll go on that little back road.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we did have a culvert collapse there
Yeah.
on Evergreen.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's still, if that's where the problem is, or,
It's the opposite end.
hmm?
This is the
Opposite
opposite
end?
end of
Okay.
the
Okay.
culvert.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, this is like down the big hill on this side of it.
okay.
Okay, so I will let him know. Next we have the discussion and possible action on moving future town board and town meetings to the fire station building. Carol, did you wanna touch on this, or, we have to heat that building regardless, right, Jimmy? Is that because of the in-floor heating, is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay, so we have to heat that building regardless. But this one, we don't have to really heat, you know, I mean, we probably try and keep something in here, but we don't have to have it warm or anything like that. Do you know what it has to be set at over there, Jimmy?
Usually when we had the fire department, there was about 55.
Okay.
Wasn't there a problem with a furnace or something over there?
That's coming a little later.
I mean, I'm open.
The discussion came up as to, does it make sense for us to shut this building down for the winter? Because we do not have to use it for the winter, is because it is not it's not heat efficient. And we have to heat the firehouse building because of the in-floor heat. And can we make it do a setup over there for the winter to allow this to then just be shut down? The only thing I can see in here that we have to have, it's important for winterizing, is we can't keep the election machine in here.
Yeah, but we talked about moving that.
And there is a location in the firehouse, there is a room storage underneath the steps that's locked, so we have the protection that the election machine has to have. So it would make sense to move over there rather than heat two buildings, we don't have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So would you completely shut this down? I mean, no heat in here at all?
Right.
But what would that do to the walls and the floors?
Same thing it did for about 30 years. Nothing. How many years did we have the winter meetings in the fire station? From 206 on, they all were over there in the winter.
Right, I know, when we first moved here, they were all over there.
Lacey, did you have phone that you can call 911 on in that location. Okay.
There's one there.
Is there one over there?
I don't know if it's been disconnected or not, but the phone lines are there and internet.
Which I know most
Okay.
of us have cell phones, but that was one of the things that they said, that like you have to have a phone line in the building for somebody who doesn't have service on their cell phone, or you know what I mean, in order to.
So where's the
I see.
phone line
Where's,
here?
where's the internet?
It's over here in the window. I was
The internet
gonna say,
comes with a
I think
phone.
there was a phone somewhere, but there's a phone over in the window.
So do we have internet in that building?
Yes,
Now we have internet here.
three hooking it.
It's over there too. Okay. So then if there's internet, if there's, then you can get telephone over there too, I'm assuming? Is that how that works? Like, okay.
Plus the issue with the steps for, people that don't wanna walk up the steps, especially in the winter.
There's ramps out there.
Even in the summer.
But then we wouldn't have to shovel the ramp
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
I think,
If you would. I have the liability stake. I think you
Not if the
would.
building closed.
It's still a town building.
But if it's building's closed, we wouldn't have to shovel.
we can look into that too and just make sure that that's the case. But Lindsay, if you do decide to go that route and there's not a phone over there, there's just like, there's a 911 only phone that's what we call. Like, you Okay. can hook that up too. Well, if there was one over there at one point, then we shouldn't have an issue getting one over there now.
But you shouldn't have to pay for an extra phone if you have, there's Wi-Fi in this building, is there a separate router over there?
The Wi-Fi is this white box up here on the wall.
Yeah, so the Wi-Fi is in this building. Would they charge you if you can hook, telephone lines are the simplest thing in the world. If you run a phone line over there and just put an old phone there,
Right.
We not have access to the building to know what they did in that building after they shut it down. So we'd have to go check on that.
I'm just wondering if the cable company would, or, the internet company would
Right.
allow you to
Well, we'd have to check on it.
have it in both, right?
We'd have to check and
They
see,
were,
okay, what do we
originally they were
have?
gonna come from that one, it's already, it's up and running, and come to this building because of the blacktop and, concrete, it's cheaper for them to put a separate line in.
Anybody with hearing aids isn't gonna be able to hear a thing over there. You'll have to have a microphone and that'll probably echo too in that building.
I don't think it'd be any worse than when this furnace is running.
Yeah, they always turn the furnace
So do
on.
we need to
Yeah.
have a motion to
Move the meetings over.
move the meetings over there? Or do we have to do,
I would move that we move the meetings to the fire station during the winter months.
Can you
That's second.
specify what months? I mean, winter could be vary a lot in Wisconsin.
Well, I would just say indefinitely, until we change it.
We might actually like it over
I know,
there, and
Yeah.
I would like.
even, like we just had to have the budget hearing at the village because we felt the space wasn't big enough. Maybe that would be a bigger space and we wouldn't
Yes.
have to go up to the
So
village.
say for all future meetings,
Yeah.
and then if you need to, you can move it back, okay.
I think Carol seconded.
There may be something you can do about that.
Okay, any other discussion on that? And I'll definitely look into having these, like the ramp shoveled and the stairs shoveled and like the public buildings, cause I'm not sure.
if we have to have it?
Yeah,
Well, don't we have that guy shoveling and removing snow anyhow? That's in that quote anyhow, so you might as well just let him do it.
The ramp and the stairs work?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, I
Right,
mean, if
he
he's gonna
has-
do it, he might as well just do it, and then, this way, if we ever do have to get into this building, at least we can. It might be chilly,
I mean,
you're
he's already
flooring,
doing
but-
it for the price that he quoted us, so why change it? Just let him do it.
Maybe he'd reduce the price though if he didn't have to.
We're not gonna get any snow.
Well, I'm just saying.
The ice.
Oh, nice and damn.
Okay, so all in favor of moving the meetings to the, building 2, fire department building?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. So that's starting then with the next meeting, right Keith, is that,
Yes,
so, okay, so just so everybody knows, and if you wanna spread the word, our next meeting will be over next door. Discussion and possible action on Fifth Road boundary marker issue. I think Keith, you,
Keith had emailed me and wanted me to put that on the agenda.
Yeah, Richard Murray contacted me. He said many years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, the county, or we cleaned that ditch, and when we scraped the ditch, we took out his marker, his property marker. And he just like that, replaced.
You talking about the fire number?
No, his boundary marker.
Oh, okay.
They got too close to the edge and hooked it and pulled it out. And he just needs to be restored. I think there's many ways to do that, the technology's there just even with some of the hunting applications, you can exactly find the boundary, so.
so is it something that the highway department would put back in for them, or is like zoning, or who?
Why don't you do it? We'll put it back in for it.
It's a possibility, but we need to be authorized. You just go to the north stake and go 622 feet backwards toward the south, and
On the stake back in.
it's on the stake back in. That's basically what it boils down to.
No, why can't he do it?
Well, I think I'm just the messenger.
Do you think you need to get a survey?
If there is a survey, I brought a copy of it. If that would help.
Yeah, but just sticking
Oh,
the
for
thing in
Richard?
anywhere
Is that
isn't
the one on
accurate.
Fifth Road, or Fifth Avenue?
Yeah.
There's a very specific survey with foot markers and everything, if it would help.
Yeah, that would help.
Do you know, does he still have the marker? Is the marker still there?
No, I think it got torn out. The marker's usually a pipe groove in the ground.
Sure, right.
Or even a fence post.
And then they put the little upside down fence post,
No, I just looked at the agenda and like, what is that? And so I looked up a survey and I'm like,
Keith, did you want to work then with Richard to get that put in?
Yeah, we'll figure out, yeah.
Okay. Perfect, then I'll let you handle that with Richard and.
I'll just get somebody.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing on the agenda for new business is discussion and possible action on furnace maintenance. And that was something that Carol had asked.
Who wants to speak?
Well, there's been several working on it, Jim and, Gary was working on it, and then, I was to get Tom Quinn to come out and look at it. I got him out here Saturday, and, as far as the boiler itself, there's nothing wrong with the boiler, it's just in some of the controlling on the pump startup. We thought it was maybe a thermostat line, but there's actually 2 zones, and one for the kitchen and one for the main part of the building. I think it's getting to the point where, not that we're old, we're not too good at crawling, but I think we'd have to call it, somebody like Kirshner's got an experienced guy with one of his workers is quite knowledgeable, plus he's worked on boilers and stuff before like that, he's done mine, and Frank's house too, and he knows his stuff. Get to the point that you can only pinpoint it so far, but the boiler itself starts and runs fine. It just needs to be, the control for the circuit pumps is what's the problem, which is, to me, I don't think, and Jim thinks too, it's not a real big idea, but it takes somebody that's.
You've got someone who can do that?
Well, Tom looked at it, but he can't, he's done doing it anymore right now.
But who can he recommend?
Well, I'd say Kirshner's.
Kirshner's gas service?
Yes,
Yeah.
they
So we have a $244 credit with them right now.
Oh, look at that.
They did come out and they did a repair, I think, last winter. So
But
I
I
think
think
they're,
if they specify which repairman, they got installers and they got service techs and
Yeah, get the old guy, not the young guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
well, the guy that did the boilers though, I believe went somewhere else, and if you know where he went, that would be a
No, the
good
guy didn't
idea.
bother. He was here Saturday,
Really?
yeah.
Because they had looked at it before, and I thought the man that knew everything had gone elsewhere.
he retired.
Yeah, he could,
That's what I,
The young guy.
well, anyway, make the contact with him, I would say, and say, send the guy you sent before, or,
So can Jim serve as the contact to go between for us?
I think that's a motion.
I think that would be the right thing to do, have somebody that is
Somebody-
familiar with the situation
I
and
make
work
a-
with them.
I make a motion that Jim be the contact for,
Parishioners
too.
Yeah, I'll do.
Which Jim were you wanting
we
on?
know they're both gonna be doing it. Cause they
Do
both
we
were
have,
there today.
Jim
Did
and
you say
company.
Jim Johnson for that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And Jim Golish is his assistant.
Do we have a second for the motion?
Yes.
People second it. Any other discussion?
Well, the good news is, we don't need a new boiler, is the way it is.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
right off, we don't
I
jump
mean,
at the
that's
thermostat.
$15,000
You know.
we don't need to spend.
Do we have an idea of what it could possibly cost, or we don't know?
No.
Until they come out and look
no,
at it?
'cause they work a little,
We just know it's not the
Right.
15,000.
very high, but you got $100 some credit, that'll get a good start.
Gets to do at least come look at it.
So we have to spend $1,000, it's worth
And put it on the maintenance program, yeah.
The other option to fix this, we did not like, so we have to get it fixed properly, because we have to have meetings somewhere, and we have to maintain that heat in that building because of the heating system.
So, Jim and Jim, if you want to get a quote and then bring it back to us, I think would probably be the best way to go
Well,
about
we
it.
could get a quote, but right now, I think we're at the point of no return, that we gotta get,
Yeah.
we don't have that.
Okay, so,
I think we should authorize them to, what's a proper number, $1,000 or less? Authorized to spend?
It depends upon what the issue is.
No, but I mean, that's a start. If they need more, we can have we could have
If they get them here, then they can have an estimate, we can have them call
okay,
the board.
sure. Yeah, even if they,
Because we're
call us
Come
or
to the
you,
point that, oh no, this is gone, or this is
sure.
ridiculously, yeah.
The new control system will be probably a couple $1,000.
But we don't.
Because you
know
guys
if
could
they
always
need it
call
or
a
not.
special meeting if you had to,
Yeah.
approve
Okay.
spending.
We can have a special meeting because once you get a quote, we need to take action.
Okay, yeah, so if you just wanna let us know once you get that quote, then we'll just call a special meeting just to,
Okay,
say yes or no to the quote, and then we'll go from there, if that's okay. I think we already got that
It's
seconded,
supposed
right?
to slow
Okay,
down.
okay, so all in favor of the
Yes.
Jim and Jim getting a quote for the furnace?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Alrighty, our upcoming meeting date is December 16th, 2024. It does say the Westfield Town Hall, but make sure you make that note that it'll actually be the building next to us.
Are you discussing, are you?
How about him?
No, there was a new agenda that got sent out.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that's why.
there's, yeah,
So
there's
I
a,
always go the one that's the longest.
yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, there was a revised one that got sent out, so, alright, is there anything
Oh,
else?
I got
or-
both bad ones.
Alrighty, then we will adjourn the meeting at 7:03 PM.
Okay, yeah.